I'm Jeff Naegle. I've been in manufacturing industry for about 17 years now. Led teams from various different sizes, from small 100-person plants all the way up to 750-person plants. In that standpoint, my background is obviously into lean manufacturing. In the standpoint that I believe in giving the people the process, and that we're tough on the processes before we're tough on the people. In the standpoint that we're here to lead teams, and that every day that we come to work, we're here to work for the employees out there on the floor. And so our leadership style, or my leadership style, is 100% a servant leadership style. Is you tell me what you need to be successful, and we put together operating plans and goals, and driving those things to drive the results of what we need to accomplish. So if there's capital projects that need to be done, or money that needs to be spent on the floor, let's get those things done. If it's training regarding and training related, that we need to focus on the aspect of the training of the operators. Or, in the other standpoints of it, if we look at an opportunity, we're going to be data driven in the standpoint. So if we look at the opportunities where we see our most stops, or our most opportunities that we have within the lines, then let's go after those bigger stops. So when I approach a line, and when I approach a team, and with the aspects that we have, I always like to do a V-shaped curve. And a V-shaped curve analysis will show us our pinch points and our bottlenecks. And so we can, kind of level out that V-shaped curve, that bottom part of the V shape, then we would automatically get bigger impacts on the line. So we want to push-pull systems of the manufacturing lines that we have. So that's more or less regarding the lines itself. That how we get there is development of operations and operators and team leaders. So to me, it's about being engaged with the workforce that we have, and that we work with them and understand the opportunities that we have within the floor level. Yeah, so the biggest one I had was with Kraft Heinz in Ontario, Oregon. So we had a French fry factory that Ore-Ida brand is a really big represent recognizable brand. The Ore-Ida brand is a recognizable brand in the retail space, and we used to hold about 50% market share. And then through supply chain adjustments and supply chain issues, it actually got down to about the 36% market share. And that was when I got hired in to be on that Kraft Heinz team. And so right away, I recognized the big name that we had and the big brand that we had. And I looked at the lines of the opportunities that we had within in them. And the way it was mostly around wastewater treatment issues, where it was shutting down the facility. It wasn't able to run because within the permits that they had within the sites. And so number one, we had to get a fine line balance of operating within the permits that we had, and making sure that we weren't losing, batter and oil and things that led into the TSS or TSS and the BOD loadings of the site. So once we were able to be more environmentally friendly and environmentally sound, and by setting the standards of not pushing potatoes or oil or batter down the drains, we're able to sustain our operation practices of discharging the Snake River. And so once we were able to do that, and we were able to get people on board, then we started recognizing the opportunities that we had on the lines, where we would throw away products where we didn't need to. So we had a huge waste reduction, about 10% processing waste, and a frozen waste production of 50%, from 10% down to 5%. The reason why we did that is it was the most expensive in the process. As the product kind of goes from the wet side to the finished good process, it gets more and more expensive. And so to me, it was giving our team the information they needed to know that it's cost this much that we're throwing away. And then it gets significantly more expensive as it goes down the process. And then we made that visual to the team. And then we communicated to the team that if we were able to put this back into the bottom line of the business, we're able to increase, payments, increase OEE performance, increase capital expenditures for the site, and trust the business that we would do the right thing. And so when I was there for my 3 years, as we turned around the facility, we actually did about $30 million capital projects, with oil reclaim, with batter reclaim, and with frozen waste, new equipment and packaging to reduce the amount of frozen waste. And the way we were able to is, once we established those projects that came online, and we were able to prove that we were worth being invested in, then we were able to get more money. And once again, like that's more on the equipment side, but it was more of a belief of the people. So that we set a vision that we would have no potatoes, no product, no water on the ground, and that we would be a ready to eat facility. Even though consumers would take our product, our customers would take our products, and then still had a finished cooked. But we approached it that we would not have water or product on the ground, and that any lost points would be eliminated, which obviously helped us out with our sanitation, our quality practices, and just holding ourselves to higher standards of processing that we had. And so we were able to do that from the floor level. But once again, it all starts by setting a vision with the team in a room and making sure that we have the right players in the room. And so that we have a diverse team in the room looking at the product or looking at the problems, and that not one problem will ever be solved by one person or one department, but that we all come together as a team and we look at it. So if there's a spill gate that needs to be done, it's obviously a mechanical thing and an operator thing. So then how do we ensure that we fix it, we maintain it, and then we hand it over to operations to sustain the process? And so that's how I've always looked at it is, we don't blame people. If you want to blame anybody, blame myself. I'm the leader of the site. It's my fault that we failed. But at the end of the day, it's also my responsibility to put together a plan and help the team recognize the opportunities that we have and not point fingers, but actually focus on solutions. And so I've done it within the room, setting up a plan, then going to the floor and actually seeing where the problem is, and then talking to the operators and making sure that they understand the things that we're trying to solve. And if they can get on board with us, you start doing things exponentially faster by having more and more people on board and looking at it, and then plugging into the different shifts throughout the night, and making sure that everybody is aware of the problems we're having. Yeah, so we show a journey of it. And so the way I kind of approach it is we want to get all of our what we call defect cards. And so when we have a lot of defect cards that kind of come in, and defects are equipment issues that we have that are broken or not are not placed. So my whole goal is, I'll use my hands on this one. Our defect card should be up here with a lot of defects, and our OEE should be down, overall equipment effectiveness. And as we reduce the amount of defect cards that we have, we'll start seeing the OEE increase. And so when you go on my facilities, what you'll see is a bunch of stuff where we start before pictures and after pictures. So where we started and where we're finishing. And then we'll also have our goals written up. And so that would be more of the production standpoint, but quality goals, we'll have quality goals and quality vision written up of how many customer complaints we had. What do we do to put in place? Are we sustaining them? And then in the sanitation aspect of it, we'll see weekly, quarterly, monthly, and yearly sanitation things that are being done, and then who's responsible for them and how often we're signing off. And so those are a few things. We'll have team rooms for the different line centric teams and the different lines that we have built up. And then you'll go in the rooms and you also see the OE increase, the trends, the safety trends, the quality trends, and then the amount of work being done during downtime, the PMs of the equipment, and then how many times did we do pit stops. And then, here's the deal. I've always believed that we celebrate the greens because those are good opportunities that we have, but we also celebrate the reds. And so when I look at it, it's a zero loss plant. And so if there's opportunities that we have within the sites, we're always talking about those opportunities. We're not talking about them in a negative way, but we're talking about them in opportunities that we have to get better at. And so I believe in a zero loss house, and the team on the floor will tell you what our 30-day, 60-day, 90-day visions are. And then what help are we doing at the site? And then also what help our capital projects coming. So, we'll look at something. If it's not totally too bright, then we'll tell you when it's going to get too bright. And that's when this capital project gets approved, when this one comes into site. And then this is our expectations that we have from those sites, those facilities. And then probably last thing I have is you'll see an engaging team that wants to be on the site. And so to me, it's a twofold promise. It's getting the right people on the board or right people on the bus to work hard and do the things that we need to. but it's also retaining those talented people and helping them become visionaries of their own path and their own career path. So to me, it's about retaining our team that we have and then making career decisions based upon that as well, and helping them understand that, hey, there's a path for them here at the site, or there's a path within the organization that they are choosing to go somewhere else. So we have a clear vision of what we want to do as a company. Yeah. So my next opportunity is I would like to take over a large facility again, and oversee a site. Definitely enjoyed turnaround facilities. To me, there's no greater risk or greater benefit than going into a place that's been a troublesome plant and turning it in and making believers on the floor. I believe that we as responsibility or responsible owners in the community, we owe that to the community. Most of the sites that we have and most of the jobs that we have, they affect 3 to 5 jobs in the community. And so to me, it's an effect that we need to do. And then, so the next opportunity I have is taking a trouble plant that is on the verge of either shutting down or not performing where it needs to, and working with the team and doing that, and turning it around by working on that leadership balance that we have, the servant leadership, and then focusing on systems and putting systems in place. Like I said before, we got to be tough on the processes, make sure we're tight on the processes before we're tight or tough on the people. And then lastly, I like to grow my vision of it. A lot of things I do is very tactical. It's very hands on with the team. It's building that leadership mindset with the team, engaging the team, doing plant manager coffees with plant managers, or quarterly town halls, communicating at that standpoint. But then to me, it's also a strategic standpoint. So, as a plant manager, I expect to have a 3 to 5 year vision of the site, but I also want to be making decisions for the business for the next 15 to 20 years. And what are we doing? I believe that as we go through our processes of the site, we're part of a growing organism that the site, and as we're there, we can either grow the site or we can keep it dormant or keep it stagnant on where it is. And so I've done a lot of stuff tactically, but I want to also expand my vision of how do we look at things strategically and out for the next 15, 20 years, and what decisions we need to make. Also, I want to take the vision and the successes I have and brought it over a couple of different plants. And so when I look at that next role, it's a VP of operations, senior director of operations, different names at different sites, but mostly just a multi-site facility, where we can set that standard and deliver the results.